Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatim Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Prachatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, everyone. Right, let me bring up the screen. Yeah. Okay, so last week we actually completed the fourth Bhagavatam, but however, I've asked devotees whether they would like a quick overview of the chapters before we begin the fifth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and devotees have requested, yes, it would be a good idea to have a overview of fourth canto before we get into the fifth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a brief summary of first 7 chapters of fourth canto. So it will be in the story form mainly. Yeah. So, and our discussion basically starts here. So the first chapter of the fourth canto, there are too many names in this canto. I will make it in this chapter, so I will make it extremely simple for you. So let me bring up the screen and see if I can, yeah. Okay, so the first chapter is entitled, it's a genealogical tables of daughters of Manu. But I'll make it very simple. Okay. Here you can see in this diagram, here the name of Manu is mentioned, Swayambhu Manu. Krishna, from Krishna, Lord Brahma comes, and Lord Brahma, from Lord Brahma, Swayambhu Manu came. So Swayambhu Manu appeared in the first Manvantara. This is currently, we are in the 7th Manu. In each day of Brahma, there will be 14 Manus coming. 14 Manus coming. And in this day of Brahma, the first Manu was Swayambhu Manu. He was the son of Brahma. So his wife was Shatarupa. So he had 3 daughters, 2 sons. And 3 daughters, namely Devahuti, Akuti, Prasuti. 2 sons, Uttanapada and Priyavrata. So today's in this discussion, we can skip this bit here. Uttanapada, Priyavrata, we are not going to discuss at all. Priyavrata's story comes in the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Uttanapada's story comes after Daksha Yajna. So we will discuss this in the 4th canto later on. But here you can see these 3 daughters. Devahuti we discussed elaborately in the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Devahuti married to Kardama Muni. And they had 9 daughters, 1 son. Anybody remembers the son of Devahuti? What is the name of son of Devahuti?
Kapil Dev.
Kapil Dev, excellent. Kapil Dev, Lord Kapila. Who is Kapila? Is non-different from Lord, isn't Krishna. It? Is an incarnation of Krishna. Excellent. So we discussed that elaborately in the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And actually, after Kapila was born, Lord Kapila was born, Kardama actually left for the forest, leaving his wife Devahuti in the care of his son Kapila. And Mother Devahuti asked a number of questions and got enlightenment from his son Kapila. Prabhupada also had written a book called Teachings of Lord Kapila. Okay, so, and Akuti and Ruchi was very, very simple. Here you can see there, Akuti plus Ruchi, they gave birth to Yajna and Dakshina, 2nd daughter. Not much description about the 2nd daughter, Akuti, Yajna and Dakshina. Yajna is also incarnations of the Lord. And that's where that ends. And here, then the 3rd daughter, Prasuti, was given to Daksha. Daksha is one of the progenitors, father of mankind. So Prasuti, Daksha, they begot 16 daughters. How many? 16 daughters. And 16, every daughter had some children. Every daughter had some children, except the last daughter. Who was the last daughter? Anybody remembers? Last daughter of Prasuti and Daksha.
Was it Sati, Prabhuji?
Yeah, she is Sati. So, what was the discussion? Who were discussing these pastimes? The discussion is happening between 2 great saintly people. Can anybody tell who were those 2 great people discussing these stories? Vidura and Maitreya. Right? Vidura and Maitreya. Okay, so Prasuti, 3rd daughter of Manu, was given to Daksha, who was a progenitor. In Sanskrit, they are called Prajapati. They begot 16 daughters, except the last daughter Sati. All the daughters of Daksha had children. So while narrating this, who was narrating? Maitreya Muni was narrating to Vidura. Maitreya Muni was narrating to Vidura. Vidura, just imagine how long this chart was. They started in the beginning of 3rd canto. Beginning of 3rd canto, there were around 35 chapters, something like that. Again, 35 chapters in the 4th canto. Around 60 chapters. Long discussion. So while discussing, then he said that Sati had given up her body without begetting any children. So, and he also mentioned because Sati's father Daksha was envious of Lord Shiva, and because of their enmity, Sati had to give up her body before actually begetting any children. That's where the first chapter ends. Then we'll move on to the second chapter. There are other stories as well in the first chapter, but for continuity's sake, I'm taking this way. And in the second chapter, entitled Daksha curses Lord Shiva. So obviously, Vidura got very inquisitive. You are telling me that Sati died before begetting any children. And you are also telling me that there was enmity between Daksha and Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva and Daksha, they were exalted personalities. How come there was enmity between these two personalities? And Lord Shiva is always auspicious and always peaceful. So how come there was enmity between Shiva and Daksha? Please, can you elaborate this? Vidura asked Maitreya, and then Maitreya narrated the story of Daksha Yajna. So it starts from second chapter, goes until seventh chapter of fourth canto. So Maitreya tells that once upon a time, Daksha was performing one sacrifice, and in that for that sacrifice, the leaders of the universe came to attend, and in that great assembly, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva were sitting, and at that time Daksha entered that assembly. When he entered that assembly, with his bodily luster, he could illuminate the entire assembly like sun. Even the fire gods, their bodily luster was diminished. Fire god's body is always illuminating. But when Daksha entered, their illumination diminished. So everybody stood. They welcomed Daksha. They greeted Daksha. Brahma, of course, Daksha's father, he didn't need to stand up. He just spoke to Daksha, but he was seated. Then Daksha saw Lord Shiva was simply sitting there next to Lord Brahma and did not welcome him and didn't stand up or didn't greet at all. So this made Daksha very angry. Daksha gave his daughter Sati to Lord Shiva upon the request of Brahma. He was not interested. It was a love story, proper love story. Because he wanted to, give his daughter to someone very opulent and very rich. But Lord Shiva, he lives in crematorium, is very simple, extremely simple personality. So he didn't want to hand over his daughter to Lord Shiva, but she fell in love. Sati fell in love with Lord Shiva, and Brahma also requested. So then Daksha, he became angry and he started chastising and blaspheming Lord Shiva. So because there was enmity, Daksha was envious of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva was actually meditating on Lord Vishnu. When he's seated, whenever he gets a minute, he just, focuses, he meditates on the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. So he was sitting there and meditating on Lord Vishnu. He didn't notice Daksha entering the assembly at all. And he blasphemed like anything. You have monkey eyes. My daughter has got lotus eyed, etc. You are Shiva. Shiva means auspicious in the name only, and you are actually very inauspicious. Um, um, and I actually didn't want to give my daughter to you, but my father, Brahma, asked me to hand over my daughter. And then he cursed Lord Shiva, saying that you will not get the share in the sacrificial oblations. Whenever yajna is performed, every demigod gets a share of in the oblations. So Daksha cursed him that, saying you will not get a share in the oblations. And Daksha, after cursing Lord Shiva, he left that place. So Lord Shiva was very patient and very calm, very tolerant. He didn't say anything, even though he was being blasphemed by Daksha. However, but a servant, master can sometimes, be tolerant. But if there is a servant, then the servant should react. So Nandi was there, Shiva's follower. Nandi stood up. Nandi started cursing, and he cursed Daksha that you will get a goat head. That was Nandi's curse. Yes. And then he also cursed all the Brahmanas, saying that you will be just addicted to the fruitive activities. Just you do some, you will recite some Vedic mantras, you will perform some rituals for the sake of performing it, but actually you will not get bhakti. And then Bhrugumuni present, he cursed that, the followers of Lord Shiva, you become atheists, and you become addicted to drinking wine and flesh. And like this, there is cursing and counter cursing going on between Nandi and Bhrugumuni. Bhrugumuni was representing Daksha, and Nandi was representing Lord Shiva. While this cursing and counter cursing going on, Lord Shiva, he became morose, and he simply left that place. So let us, although we don't have time, but let's read that Lord Shiva's 30. Yeah, no, this isn't it. 4 to 33. Let's see if we can bring up that. Okay. Can anybody read this purport?
I can read, Prabhuji, if nobody else wants to.
Go ahead.
Hare Krishna purport. Here Lord Shiva's excellent character is described. In spite of the cursing and counter-cursing between the parties of Daksha and Shiva, because he is the greatest Vaishnava, he was so sober that he did not say anything. A Vaishnava is always tolerant, and Lord Shiva is considered the topmost Vaishnava. So his character, as shown in this scene, is excellent. He became morose because he knew that these people Both his men and Dakshas were unnecessarily cursing and counter cursing one another without any interest in spiritual life. From his point of view, he did not see anyone as lower or higher because he is a Vaishnava. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 5.18, Pandita Samadarshinaha. One who is perfectly learned does not see anyone as lesser or greater because he sees everyone from the spiritual platform. Thus, the only alternative left to Lord Shiva was to live in order to stop his follower, Nandishvara, as well as Bhrigu Muni from cursing and counter cursing in that way. Thank you.
So not easy, isn't it? When someone is provoking you, someone is blaspheming you, someone is criticizing you. Not easy. This is a real test. Real test. When this Bhrugumuni, this Bhrugumuni, he went to Vaikunta and he kicked on the chest of Lord Vishnu. You know the story? Yes. And Lord Vishnu said that, oh, my chest is so, like a stone. Your feet is like, soft sponge. It might have hurt you. So he started massaging. And Prabhupada writes there, when there is a provocation, you still do not lose your control. That is the real test. That is a real test of a Vaishnava. That is a real test of a devotee. Here, Lord Shiva is demonstrating that great character. Okay. And of course, Daksha cursed Lord Shiva and he left, and Nandishwara cursed Daksha, saying that he will get goat head, and then he cursed his follower, cursing and counter cursing going on between Nandi and Bhrugumuni, and Lord Shiva also left. So after that, they performed the sacrifice. They actually assembled there to perform the sacrifice, right? And this sacrifice went for 1,000 years, and that's how that sacrifice ended. After this, Daksha decided to do another sacrifice, a famous sacrifice, which is known as Vajapeya, Vajapeya, and followed it by another sacrifice called Bruhaspati Sava. Anyway, so he wanted to perform more sacrifices, Daksha. So, and he invited everyone, but except Lord Shiva and his daughter Sati for this party. This great sacrifice. Knowing that there will be a problem in this sacrifice, Lord Brahma and Lord Vishnu, although they had received the invitation, they did not go. So, and because, so he invited everyone from all over the universe, and Mother Sati could see, in the air, in the sky, that many demigods and all our sisters and brother-in-laws and other relatives were going nicely decorated and going to attend this wonderful sacrifice being performed by Daksha. Naturally, he got inclined. Uh, it's you feel happy, isn't it, to go to your own home and decorate nicely so that you can see your parents and sisters and brother-in-laws, etc. So although she was not invited, why she was not invited? Because she was related to Shiva. So Daksha did not invite our son-in-law Shiva and also daughter Sati for this. But however, Sati wants to go and attend this ceremony. Lord Shiva said, I'm afraid, it's better not to go for, not to go, as we have not received any invitation. But Sati said, I don't need an invitation to go to my father's place. Lord Shiva said that, but your father is envious of me. That's why you will not be welcomed when you go there, I'm afraid. So that's why I suggest you don't go. And your father is actually is blinded by these six qualities. What are the six opulences? What are the six opulences? Knowledge, austerity, wealth, beauty, youth, and heritage. So, because being blinded by these opulences, he disrespects me, he is envious of me, although I never said anything against him. See, because he's got some talents, he is like disrespecting, is blinded by these qualities, opulences. What is the use of opulences if they are going to make us blind spiritually, and if they're going to hinder our progress on the path of devotion, right? Sometimes we have some talent, and we become puffed off, right? And that way we cause offenses. We cause offenses at towards various Vaishnavas. Sometimes we may have one of these things. We may be beautiful, we may be very eloquent speaker, we may be very austere sometimes. Because we are austere, we think everyone is useless, like that. So Lord Shiva tells your father, being blinded by these six opulences, he is very envious of me. Actually, I didn't do anything. On that day, I was actually meditating on the lotus feet of Vishnu. I'm always meditating on the lotus feet of Vishnu. Your father mistook me. And actually, when someone offers obeisances, he offer obeisances to the super soul within the body, right? I'm already offering obeisances anyway. I'm meditating on Lord Vishnu. That way, I'm offering obeisances to the super soul present in your father's body. But your father, thinking is himself is a body, is expecting respect towards his body. So, and he advised that better not to go. It is difficult, but I think it is better not to go there at all, because you will not be welcomed being my wife. So if you go, then if you are not welcomed, you may give up your body as well. So I suggest that you better don't go at all. So this is third chapter we finished, and then now we're entering the fourth chapter. Is this flow okay, everyone?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Yes.
So, and Mother Sati decided. Lord Shiva said no, but Mother Sati decided to go against the will of Lord Shiva. Because Mother Sati was going, he asked his followers to accompany her. And so they also went along with Mother Sati to this sacrificial arena. And they then when they went there, she was welcomed by our mother and our sisters, but not by our father at all. Father completely neglected. And So she got a cold response from Daksha. Yeah, and also, other people, mother and sisters, they were afraid of Daksha. That's why they were not able to welcome her properly. um, so, and then she, when she observed the sacrificial arena, there were no oblations kept for Lord Shiva, because in every sacrifice, the demigod is offered some oblations. So she was not welcomed, and even though our sisters and mother were trying to welcome, but they were scared of Daksha. And then there were no oblations kept for Lord Shiva. Uh, every time when you offer, when you do a sacrifice, there must be oblation kept. And Sati, he condemns Daksha, mm, no, our own father. You are unnecessarily envious of a great personality, Lord Shiva. Uh, Externally, he may look like simple, but he is the greatest personality. And um, mm, Lord Brahma, people like Lord Brahma would like to touch the lotus feet of Lord Shiva. Even other demigods, they glorify Lord Shiva. They like to touch the lotus feet of Lord Shiva. And since I'm born from your body, I feel ashamed um, because of your ill character. Um, so ideally, what happens is when you see some Vaishnava is being blasphemed, there are a couple of things that you should do. One is ideally, if you can cut the tongue of that blasphemer, you should do it. You should cut the tongue of that blasphemer. If you can't do that, then you should either leave or give up your own body. Blocks once a year and leave the place if one is unable to punish him. If we can't punish him, we have to block the ear holes. If someone is blaspheming a Vaishnava or the Lord, block the ear holes and leave the place. Secondly, we can cut his tongue and kill him and then give up one's own life as an atonement for hearing the criticism. So we should not, but we like to hear criticizing. We like to criticize and we like to hear criticism. Here it is said that we should also give up our body just because we have heard the criticism. So Mother Sati, she would have blocked her ear hole or she would have left that place. But she's in a tricky situation, right? She doesn't want to go back because Lord Shiva said, what did Lord Shiva say? Don't go. But she went there. Now she doesn't want to go back. And now she can't cut the tongue of her father and she can't punish her own father. It's not right for her. Then she decided, okay, now I can't block my ear holes and I can't go to my home. I can't cut the tongue of my father and kill him. The only thing left for me is to give up my body. So she then sat in yogasana and then she meditated on the fiery element in the body, thinking Lord Shiva's lotus feet. She gave up her body. Fire emanated within, and then she got burnt herself. She gave up her body this way. And Daksha, while seeing this, he did not even utter a word. We would have said, come on, like, I'm sorry, give up this, don't give up your body, don't do that, whatever, like, we would have just, spoken to, to the person if we were in that position. But Daksha was so egoistic that he did not even care. He saw with his own eyes when his daughter was quitting her body. Um, hmm, and a great cry arisen from the sky, and everybody thought, what kind of person this Daksha is, how foolish he is. And actually, after the death of Mother Sati, the followers tried to attack the sacrificial arena, but Bhrigu Muni, he was he was clever enough, and he offered some oblations into the sacrificial arena and chanted some mantras, and there were demigods named Rubhus. They appeared from the sacrifice, and they had driven away the followers of Lord Shiva. And Narada Muni, knowing this situation, he just narrated what had happened to Mother Sati at the sacrifice being performed by Daksha. So Narada Muni basically informed Shiva, Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva became extremely angry, and he just pulls bunch of hair and throw it on the ground, and created a scary personality, very, very fearful personality, named Virabhadra. So he asked, Virabhadra is an incarnation of the anger of the person, of the Supreme Lord. Anger personified, basically. Anger personified. So Lord Shiva creates Virabhadra and orders him to destroy Daksha this time. Sometimes, first he was tolerant enough, right? He didn't say anything when he was blasphemed. In front of everyone, that too. Lord Shiva kept quiet, even though he was blasphemed. In front of everyone, he kept quiet. But now, he wanted to teach him a lesson, teach Daksha a lesson. And so that's why he asked Virabhadra to go and actually kill Daksha. And Virabhadra, let's see a couple of pictures. We've been talking about it. So let's share the. So this is the first picture here. So this is the initial scene where Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva were sitting. You can see Lord Shiva was in meditation. He was meditating. You can see his yogic posture, and this is Daksha. He criticized Lord Shiva in front of everyone. This is Mother Sati quitting our body, and this is in the middle. You can see Lord Shiva created this fiery personality, Virabhadra. He was basically touching the sky, and he was wearing the garland of skulls, and red hair like a fire, and many arms, and he was holding many weapons as well. So this Virabhadra was ordered by Lord Shiva to go and actually kill Daksha. and Virabhadra came along with his associates, and then he caught hold of Daksha. Everybody got scared, basically. Everybody was running here and there. uh, um, mm. So then he caught hold of Daksha, and then he cut off the head of Daksha and threw him into the sacrificial fire. Um, mm. So, great roar happened there. Mm. Shiva followers were all like, saying, Jai, Jai, wonderful job. Well done, Virabhadra. Well done, Virabhadra. So they were praising Virabhadra. And after that, uh, the Shiva's followers, headed by Virabhadra, they left and they reported this to Lord Shiva. So that's how chapter 5 ends. And then, because the sacrifice had stopped, all other demigods present there, then they approached Lord Brahma. We said that Lord Brahma did not attend this sacrifice. He was there initially. That was the first sacrifice. But this is another sacrifice. Lord Brahma wasn't there. So all demigods, they approached Lord Brahma. So formed what had happened. And Brahma said, you cannot be happy after offending great personality like Lord Shiva. Why did you offend? Huh? And then he says, the remedy is you must now go and beg pardon from Lord Shiva and pacify him. Then we may be able to restore this yajna. And they said, no, it would be difficult for us. Please, you accompany. So Lord Brahma said, that's okay, let's go together. Lord Brahma took all the demigods and went to see Lord Shiva on Mount Kailash. There was a beautiful description of this Kailash hill, how peaceful it was and all, how beautiful it was. There were lakes. Alakananda river was also there, where Mother Sati used to take her bath. And nearby, there is Kuvera's township was also present. Kuvera is very much associated with Lord Shiva. He worships Lord Shiva. So he was also living nearby. And Shiva, Lord Shiva was sitting under a banyan tree. And the dimensions of banyan tree were given here. 100 yojanas height. How much is a yojana? Anybody remembers? 8 miles.
8 miles.
Yeah, excellent. So 100 times 8 is 800 miles height. So from here to London, it is only 170 miles. I think that too motorway. I think aerial distance may be even less. Yeah. So yeah, just imagine 800 miles from here. Height. And the branches were extending for 75 yojanas. That means 600 miles branches. So under that banyan tree, Lord Shiva was sitting in a mystic posture, and he had given up his anger. He looked very peaceful. And then, he was surrounded by saintly people like Kuvera, and 4 Kumaras were also sitting there. Many times, when Lord Shiva gives Harikatha, he always speaks Harikatha. So usually in the Harikatha, Narad and four Kumaras were always present, and they always liked to hear from Lord Shiva, Harikatha. So, and when he saw Lord Shiva saw Lord Brahma, he stood up and he offered his obeisances. Although Lord Shiva is superior to Lord Brahma, but Lord Shiva happened to be the son of Lord Brahma in this role, in this day of Brahma. He is, he appeared as a son of Brahma, just like Krishna appeared as son of Vasudeva, right? When he sees Vasudeva, Krishna offer obeisances, right? Similarly, when he saw Lord Brahma, he offered obeisances, and Lord Brahma then spoke and he pacified, he pacified Lord Shiva, and then he, what did he say? And then he said, you are, saintly people like you are compassionate. So please spare this sinful Daksha, and please forgive him, and who is influenced by Maya. And please accept your share in the sacrifice and revive Daksha and other people who got injured. This was Brahma's request. So yeah, you are a saintly person, you can forgive, right? Saintly people, they forgive, forget and forgive. It's one of the great quality. Sometimes somebody does something and we are not able to forget and forgive at all. I've seen this many times. And once I said to one person, I said to one person that if I had to maintain this enmity, and this life won't be sufficient. I had to take many births if I had to take revenge or avenge against so many things that happen. So, but forget about it. That is a great quality of devotee. If we don't forget and forgive, then keep coming, keep disturbing us. Somehow or other we try to, it is there, and we always try to find fault with that person because we are not forgiving and forgetting that person. Somehow or other trying to find the fault. Even though everything is good, because we got that, deep-rooted envy and deep-rooted that anger against some devotees, then we will not be able to forgive, and that will come out in due course. You should, one thing you remember, Lord is there, he will take care of it. Let that be like that. Okay, this person had done something, no problem. You be equal in your dealings. You may avoid, that's okay, but there is no need for you to keep that in your heart and keep and then try to attack him, attack the devotees in various ways with words and etc. But one thing is that just remember that Lord is there. Lord will look after it. That's the main thing. If you think that if you are surrendered to the Lord, if you depend on the Lord, you will be able to forgive other people. So Lord Shiva, he got pacified, and he said, so let Daksha get back his life, but he will get only goat head, because he was very puffed up, isn't it? He was very handsome, and sometimes, no, it is actually, this punishment is a boon. This is not a punishment, this is a boon. If somebody can kill us, our ego, somebody can kill our pride, that is a boon, isn't it? Because otherwise we will be criticizing and blaspheming many people. Okay, so, and then Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva went back to the sacrificial arena, and of course we know, Nandi cursed, isn't it, in the first place. Nandi said that you will get a goat head. That has to be fulfilled as well. So, and Daksha got revived. He put, as soon as goat head was attached, and he was revived. And as soon as he was revived, Daksha suddenly awoke as if from sleep and saw Lord Shiva in front of him. Daksha's heart, which had been contaminated by hatred for Lord Shiva, was immediately cleansed like a lake cleansed by autumn rains. So that contaminated heart was now cleansed completely. And Daksha remembered Sati, his daughter. Daksha wanted to offer prayers to Lord Shiva, but as he remembered the ill-fated death of his daughter, his eyes filled with tears and he could not speak. Pacifying his own mind with great endeavor, he came to his senses and began to praise Lord Shiva sincerely. By punishing me, you showed your mercy on me. Although I am an offender, you and Vishnu never neglect even anyone, even Brahma Bandhus. Why then should you neglect me, who is engaged in performing sacrifices? So Lord Daksha tells, by punishing me, actually you showed your mercy on me. Sometimes we punish our own children, right? They say that if you don't do homework, we will put you in the naughty corner. So that punishment is a reward. If you don't punish, then how they get trained, corrected. Here, Daksha says, actually, this is your mercy. This punishment is mercy. Not knowing the truth about you, I insulted you with harsh words, yet you took no notice. Indeed, you compassionately saved me from hell by punishing me. This is another point also. If he was not punished, you will be punished later on, isn't it? He's saying that you compassionately saved me from hell by punishing. Please, satisfied by your own mercy, I cannot satisfy you with my words. So I remember the story of Indra, and Indra offending Krishna. In the story of lifting Govardhana hill, Indra caused heavy rainfall in Vrindavan, 7 days and 7 nights, and Krishna lifted that Govardhan hill, and everybody took shelter under that hill. And later Indra came down with Surabhi, and he begged pardon of Krishna. And Indra also says, thank you, my Lord, for destroying my pride, which is worst disease. Cancer is better. He said, cancer is better, my Lord, but the pride is worst thing. So thank you for curing my pride by destroying my pride. Here also, Daksha tells in the same line, and after that, so they performed the yajna, the sacrifice that was stopped because of Daksha's death and all the disturbance caused by the followers of Lord Shiva. So it got stopped, isn't it? So now they revived, restarted, and so lo and behold, Lord Vishnu appeared from that sacrificial fire, and everybody stood up and offered prayers, and different demigods offer different prayers, and Lord Vishnu then he said that he gave lessons to Daksha. Daksha, never insult everyone. I am there in everyone's heart. Do not insult, do not criticize, do not blaspheme anyone. How? Because I am there in everyone's heart. And he taught this lesson, and he says that my devotees never never insult anyone. And then Daksha worshipped Vishnu, Daksha worshipped Shiva and others, and demigods, departed. That Mother Sati, who had to quit her body, later took birth as Parvati in the womb of Menaka, as wife of Himalaya. So she was reborn as the daughter of Himalaya, and later she married to Lord Shiva. And constant hearing and narrating of this pastime with devotion destroys all sin. This is the benediction. Constant hearing and narrating of this pastime with devotion destroys all sin. What a wonderful timing it is. Exactly 8 o'clock, and we finish the story. So the main lessons from and this Daksha, we were reading last week, remember, this Daksha took birth as son of Prachetas, third birth, because the sin was not nullified yet. Even with goat head, it was not nullified. Having goat head was also not nullified. So it took birth as Prachetas, son of Prachetas later on. It comes in the 31st chapter of 30th chapter, 30th of 4th canto. So the main lesson from this pastime is that we should not insult, and if someone is insulting, so let us tolerate, and if we have to teach a lesson, there is a way of teaching a lesson, but better be tolerant and don't take any side. Sometimes you have to leave that place also. Okay, so I'll stop there. Krishna willing, we will continue later on. Next Thursday is Narsingha Chaturdasi, appearance of Lord Nrsimhadev. So we won't be having class, as there will be a program in the temple. So I request all of you to attend the temple program next Thursday, so we can nicely celebrate the appearance day of Nrsimhadev, also Independence Day of demigods, because that day demigods got the independence, and also it is the death day of death anniversary of Hiranyakashipu. So we'll be celebrating this in the temple. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha
patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Hare
Thank
Krishna,
you,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.